We are about to start, so if you can take seats. It is an honor and a pleasure to welcome you this morning to the Johannesburg Holocaust and Genocide Center. Some of you were here last night. It was an amazing evening. I think all of you will agree, and it was so wonderful to have of course, the Lithuanian ambassador introducing the exhibition and introducing our guest speaker this morning. So it is my pleasure. My name is Tali Nates. I'm the director of the Johannesburg Holocaust and Genocide Center, for those that I do not know. And it is my pleasure to introduce Faina Kukliansky to you. Ms. Kukliansky has been the chairperson of the Jewish Litvak community of Lithuania since 2013. Previously, she was a lawyer representing numerous foreign companies in Lithuania. Her career in law started as a criminal investigator and later as a prosecutor. Ms. Kukliansky has received a number of awards from the Lithuanian state, including the Order of the Knight's Cross for contributions to Lithuania, awarded by the President of Lithuania. It is an honor and a pleasure to invite Faina to speak to us this morning. She's shorter than me.
It is very nice to see you today. I did speech yesterday, but I would suppose that today our conversation would be from both sides. You would ask me the question, which I'll tell you in a few words about our community, about the exhibition. And I'm very happy if you have any questions, if you have what to ask me about different questions. I'm open to answer all the questions you are interested in. So, because I think I'm the first chairwoman of the Jewish community who visited South Africa. It was, even for me, I was very astonished when I got such an invitation from the Embassy of Lithuania. And I'm very proud that our exhibition is so popular in all over the world. It is traveling from one country to another. And if you look at it carefully, you wouldn't see nothing what shows the bigger love to an exhibition which would just prize the Lithuanians. You can see the good sides, bad sides. And I'm happy that I'm living today in a country where I have rights to tell that what I want to tell, and it should not be only prizing the government, the Lithuanian parliament, and the Lithuanian history, because we consider ourselves as a part of the history. And we are the members of the Human Rights Coalition, and we are leading this Human Rights Coalition. So yesterday I told you, and I repeat it once more, we would be very happy if you would join our Jewish community. I do not know how we do organize this joining of the community, but you are all Litvaks, and we are lack of Litvaks. I understand you very well, the attitude to Lithuania. Mostly the people were poor when they left Lithuania, and they left poor Lithuania. But they had some relatives. That's what I can see from the cases which I studied. They had some relatives, they were in touch with them, they were writing letters, they were getting letters, and suddenly it stopped. No letters, nothing at all. It should be very painful. It's the same as our children who were evacuated to Russia, Jewish children, and they came back. All Lithuanian children were congratulated by their parents. Only Jewish children hadn't where to go. They didn't have parents, they didn't have nothing. The most painful thing is that after the war in Vilnius, the children were it was full city of children without the parents, and we had a person who came with the Russian army, Litvetsky. He was a doctor, he was a psychiatrist, and he had some people in his possession who were damaged by the war, by the bombing, but they were quite mental. They were not mental disease, but they were with traumas. So this guy, Rabelski, made an orphaned house for the Jewish children. He had his deputy, Tzila. Both of them, Rabelski and Tzila, were killed in a few years by the Soviet KGB. So, and the children left once more without a place, and they were sending to different villages. And finally, part of the children were added to Jewish families, and they moved outside Lithuania as members of families which they did not know. From Poland to perhaps South Africa. I met only one such a person in South Africa, but in Palestine, everywhere, because their fate would be very bad, being alone among the people. I want to tell you another fact that a lot of people, a lot of children were hidden in the villages until 48, 49. Then you know that the war finished in 45. But the people were afraid to say that they are hiding Jewish kids. Today we are proud of these people. Today we are printing books, and one of these book I brought to your museum. My family, by the way, was also rescued by a Lithuanian family. Today we are proud of it, but so many years nobody knew about it. Nobody knew about it, and it was really danger that we are talking about today. Heroes, so-called heroes, who were taking part in the mass murdering. They were killing the families, righteous among the nations, who survived their children, not only children, the whole family. So, do you want to listen about the exhibition? But I think it is better to see it and to maybe to discuss that what you saw, and maybe you did not like something. I would be very happy to get your critics. We will improve it. But generally this exhibition is really very valuable done by very capable people, done with the calligraphical style, reminding that each Jew has to, at least once, practicing Jew, at least once in life has to rewrite Torah. Even the bird of Gaon Mivilna, and I hope you know who is Gaon Mivilna, you do not? If you do not know, I'll tell you. He was a revolutionary in the religious. You know that we Litvaks are the most clever people. The most clever Jews.
Very humble.
Yes, the most clever Jews. You are Hasidim, Polish, and we, if we have something wrong with our health, we are not going to a rabbi, we are going to a doctor, and we are asking to cut or not to cut. And Hasidim, they are going to the rabbi to ask to cut or not to cut. But it is a joke. We were then, together with Polish Jews, we were the biggest community in the world. Then it was time of Rzeczpospolita Polsko-Litewska. And the King of Poland established our first university, Stefan Batory University, which is one of the oldest universities in Europe after Salamanca University. So the Poles had a very big influence in architecture, especially in Vilnius, in architecture, in everything. So it's not against you. It's for Gaon Mivilna. So it's interesting. He was an interesting guy. He used to sleep only 4 hours per night. He was studying, and not only theology, but also math, chemistry, and so on and so on. And we have, Lithuania published his mark, post-stamp, where he is like a queen with a big head, like a queen of the country. But in fact, I found his picture, which was done by his by the people who used to live at the same time as Gaon. He was a playmaker, a pitchmaker. He did not sleep, he did not eat, so he was absolutely not as this nice guy whom we imagine. So the 2020 is important for us because we will have 300 years of the leader of Mitnagdim. Mitnagdim, you know who is. This is stupid Lithuanian people who are fighting all the time with everybody. And yes, these are Mitnagdim. But they're fighting with Hasidim as well. Anyway, we have a full program together with the government, and we are preparing ourselves to 2020, and I invite you kindly and sincerely to come, and I'll send you the program of that what we are going to arrange for this anniversary, 300 years anniversary of Gaon, so that you will be able to come to our Lithuania and to see not only these small wooden houses which left your grandparents, but a nice prominent city with quite high-tech, cyber energetic, with a lot of things which are not worse than in all the other Europe. Europe gave us a lot. We are not getting money from European Unity, but we are. And it's also one of the possibility for us to act together if we have projects which can be used by Lithuanians and Eastern Partnership, as we call it. So this is one of the ways how to get money, but also it's very important to use them in the right way and to make all the reports. And it's not so easy. Nobody's giving money just so. So we have a lot of reports. We are in a very good relationship with mostly Jewish communities in Europe, with Norway, with Finland, with all Baltics, Poland, Visegrad, all these not very big communities has very good relationship between us and between themselves, and we quite often have seminars or meetings all together to discuss the issues. So actually the Jews in Lithuania, they have two main problems: is citizenship and restitution. This what really touch each family. Can you imagine that in 1941, on the 14th of June, were exiled people to Siberia, but only those who were in whose possession was more than 50,000 euros, not euros, liters, and mostly these people were Jews. So if we are talking about exiling by the Russians, we have to understand that the biggest quantity in the nationality was Jewish quantity. They never came back, most of them, because they were not allowed to come back. All their property were taken, and in the 70s, then it was the Helsinki Agreement. They were allowed to move to Palestine. Until 1956, they were allowed to move to Poland, and I think that part of you came to South Africa via Poland, because part of Lithuania was occupied by Poland from the 20s. So they could identify themselves as Poles and move further. They did not stay in Poland. So I meet families from South Africa who originally are from Poland. And it was the easiest way after all these concentration camps and hiding and war, somehow to run away from Soviet Union. So those who left in 70s, all of them went to Israel. I don't think that you have neighbors or friends or colleagues who would come to South Africa in the 70s. And it was at all forgotten about in all the Soviet time. Everybody forgot about their property. Everybody forgot about their citizenship, because in Soviet Union it was a law that all the people who are living in Soviet Union, they are Soviet citizens. And regarding the restitution, it was not a question at all, that all the property belonged to a Soviet country. So only now, from 1990, after the independence of Lithuania, the people are opening this issue And I would say that they want to get their property back. Even if they do not want, they want to get it in principle. Even if they do not want to use this kleine stiebelig, their small huiselijk, they want to get it because it's there. And it was, is it interesting for you or I have to?
Very interesting.
So till 2006, it wasn't possible to get any property for the Israeli citizens because they were considered as repatriated to their homeland. And therefore they fall down from all the list of the people who are getting citizenship and property, because property you can get only being a citizen. So in 2006 I applied to the Constitutional Court. I won this court, and the law was stopped for 2 years. And from 2008 they started to the people were able to obtain the citizenship as all Lithuanians. And this discussion is still today. We have a department of the minorities, but I do not consider myself a minority. Can you imagine what would happen with South Africa if somebody would say you are Jewish minority? Somebody would think that a person is not clever enough, or in Switzerland. Somebody would say you are Jewish minority. We are Swiss and you are minority. The people do not understand what are they doing. And it is a convention about the minority which protect, let it be minority, from attacks, from offending. So, in my opinion, I do not need any protection and any law. I am a Lithuanian Jewish origin, so why should I be a minority? I'm not a minority. I'm simply a person. And I do not need any protection, because if somebody would attack me, I would go to the police, not to the department of the private of the minorities. It's just funny. But anyway, because the new law, which does not consider anymore Jews like repatriated to the homeland, it does not allow the Jews to get property back, because the deadline finished in 2001. So today, even if you are a Jew, you have nobody would even pay attention at your papers, at your documents, and so on and so on, because the term is over. I can tell you, in Germany, I don't know, there are not too many survivors here, but you have few. And you are getting the support from claims, right? So where from all this money? Claims took all the Jewish property, and from this Jewish property they make a foundation and they're helping people. We have 1,500 people on our list. And after the restitution has been done, we also share this money with exiled people. So it is a way how to use the property and how to make right decision, even if a person is bounded, is limited because of the because of the nationality. So 12 years took us to fight for the restitution. Now another many years took us to fight for the restitution. It's communal property restitution, and from 2,000 properties we were paid 30% of 400 properties. So it's nothing, rather nothing. But now we are also asking to return us the private property, so much as it is possible. And we'll see, maybe we will. In any case, the Goodwill Foundation, in which possession is the restituted property, communal property, that means synagogues, schools, etc., etc., they have very strict rules, very strict regulations. How do we deliver the money? And it's only for demand of Lithuanian Jews. But as I told yesterday, we invited to join our community Litvaks from Israel, those who left Lithuania after the war. We are very happy until now with the collaboration, and we consider you a little bit different, because these people, they lost everything during the war. Mostly of your parents, they sold their property. If not, you can just tell us. But in these circumstances, when your parents left Lithuania, let us start from 19, because that was the first law on the citizenship. The people just sold the property, mostly. If not, we have to know about it. But in any case, that does not make any difference if you want to become members of our association. Don't think I'm not a schnorrer. We need money, but talking about you as Litvaks, it's not because you are rich and we are poor. Maybe you'll find any interest in our activities, because really our Jewish community is very active. It's very active. We are taking very much care about heritage, synagogues, about the civil society, about cemeteries and mass murdering places. So also we are very active in politics, very active. And you know, perhaps now, this story about Noreika, if you read it, so it's not so far away, not the end of the Noreika. He was accused as organizing the ghetto and taking away all the property from the Jews. By the way, my mother was in Shola at that time. She was 10 years old. She was replaced together with other two children. The property was taken away, all property, though my grandfather had a mechanic mill, and they lived quite good. But I don't know. Some people doesn't understand what does it mean, isolation in the ghetto. They do not understand we have to go and to explain what does it mean, isolation of the ghetto, and what does it mean to take care about Jewish property. Where are my folks? Where is my menorah? Where is everything? So the people do not understand, and it was a plaque as a hero on Mareka, and we were doing the different civil actions, but not brutal civil actions. Finally, someone, a Lithuanian, crashed this plank to prove that this is not a Jew who did it. It's quite difficult now. And at the same time, the daughter of Mr. Mareka found documents, and she wrote articles that she does not want to have such a father who was involved in extermination of the Jews. So this is one story. There are some, I can tell you how the monuments are building for the Nazi criminals, which is just a disaster. And you know, it is very interesting. We have had a Jew, a pilot. He was fighting in Spain. Can you imagine that a Jew, a pilot, was awarded twice as a very brave soldier? His monument was crashed, though he was fighting against Nazis. And I went to the ambassador of Spain asking him, he was a friend of Hemingway, asking him, is it the same situation in France, in Spain? And he answered me, you know, there were good boys and bad boys, who knows now who and what did. So we do not have means if the world does not support us. We are a small community of 5,000 people. I can tell you that perhaps 60% of our community are elderly people. The rest of the community, they do not care. For them, Mareka or Shmareka is the same. They are caring about their own wealth, and you have to put a lot of efforts to persuade them to join you. Besides that, we are always afraid of anti-Semitism. If I, as a chair of the community, am doing something, I'm really have a very big responsibility not to start making rising anti-Semitism more than it is already. So therefore, we are more orientated into the art. We are more orientated into, from the good will from our heart to explain the Lithuanians what happened. With anger, you do nothing. You have just to educate them. And I left here 2 books of Dashevsky. We have got first prize in Tokyo, and this book will be included into the program textbooks of the children. It is a wonderful book, not only because the contents is very, how to say, very sad, but also the book itself, it's written half in Yiddish, half in Lithuania, and we are going to print the book half in English and half in Yiddish. So we feel that this is the biggest our task and mission, to try to explain the people, to educate the people, that not only this myth, which is very active in Lithuania, is that you Jews were killing Lithuanians, you Jews sent them to Siberia, therefore we killed you, and they killed 250,000 people. And though my grandfather and grandmother were doctors, pharmacists, everybody knew them, it helped the relative, because something happened with the people. Sure, it was a very active organization, LAF. They organized all the anti-Semitism in Lithuania, and finally the people, and you are telling many, many times the same lie like others, they believe in it. And if we are talking about Wednesday conference, for us it wasn't actual, because there were no Jews in Lithuania after the final solution has been done. So I think that we are one of the countries who suffered from the Nazi regime most of all. And that's it. If you have any questions, I will answer you with a big pleasure about today and previous time. I'm really ready to share with you all my concerns, and concerns of here I am representing Jewish community. So, yes.
Can you share with us your views of the trends of anti-Semitism in Europe and how it's impacting on Lithuania and associated countries?
I have wanted an answer from big Jewish international organization that they are not going to Lithuania because they are afraid that Lithuania will happen the same as it happens in all Europe. However, I have to admit that the Minister of Economic, then it was passed the law which forbids denying Nazism, and because of that the people could be imprisoned for 3 years. That touch all the investigators, all the scientifics. It was immediately corrected the situation, and maybe I'm not a politician, maybe we are going to the same, we are following the way of other countries in Europe, but we do not have today, I can very firmly say that we do not have such events. So the only event which we have each year, other than the skinhead marching and telling that Lithuania is for Lithuanians. I'm not sure that they understand themselves what they're talking. They have their own structure, they got such a slogan to repeat, and we try not to be involved in that.
Sorry. It always happens. Everyone else switches the cell phones, except that happened to me.
That's not so close. What else they do? Gary. So, any more questions here, please?
Faina, you talk about the Lithuanian Jewish community and they're wanting to set up relationships with other Jewish communities. If we would like to be part of such a movement, who are you talking to in South Africa? Can you give us some information on how we can get involved?
How you can get involved? Very simply, you can join our Jewish community as real members, as association members. You have ideas, we have ideas. You have perhaps theaters, we are far away one from another, but anyway, I think that if you want to be together, we will always find this way.
Is there any formal discussion with a Jewish organization here, or shall we?
Yes, you have to have, first of all, what I would offer you. Israel is much easier and much closer, so we are in permanent relationship with Israel. It works, but you yourself, you have also a lot of organizations, and you have to discuss yourself. Maybe you send us a representative of your community. Maybe you should not come 200,000 people at once to Lithuania, but maybe you delegate somebody who would understand, who would more clearly explain you what's going on in Lithuania. Until now, as far as I know, you have guests from Lithuania who were picking up money for the Great Synagogue. I don't know if you met these people, but the Great Synagogue will not be restored. Everything is done from our money, and it is mostly invasion researchers. Meantime, the kindergarten is standing there, so but it is the only plot in center of the city which has possibility where it's possible to build something. Let it be apartments of Great Synagogue, let it be, I don't know, offices of Great Synagogue, but it's really a good business. However, on the top or under the land, we have basement of the synagogue, we have even mikveh, we have Harum Chodesh, so I don't think that the state will allow to build simply buildings for the commercial buildings in this place. And we do not need as people. We have one working synagogue, another we are finishing to restore in Vilnius. It will be more for concerts or maybe Reform synagogue. Other synagogues, they are spread all around Lithuania, and it's quite enough for a few people. You know, half of Lithuania does not see Jews at all. They're self-Lithuanian. There are no Jews there at all. So, yes.
Last week, a few of us were on a heritage tour in 2016, and in Vilna we saw, I think it was the Protestant church, one of the main Reformed churches, that the steps to the church were made out of mitzvahs, Jewish tombstones. Is it still there? Have they replaced it?
Replaced.
It was replaced?
Yeah, it was replaced. I'll tell you that this church is not guilty enough because it was done. But to take away, you have to do projects and so on and so on. It costs money. The church had no money, but finally it was replaced.
It's good to hear.
Can you give us an update of the issue regarding the cemetery, the main cemetery, and the sports centre and the whole...
Yeah, with pleasure. You are getting the wrong information from TV, from YouTube, and from whatever you want. You can watch, I think, Czech cemetery. It's not our cemetery. It's false photographs of existing cemetery. The cemetery which about you are asking, it was ruined and sold very, very long ago in 18th century. Gaon was buried in the cemetery, and his body was replaced to another cemetery on the other side of the river, which is really you have to come and to see. It is absolutely authentic cemeteries with some stones, with paths. We were looking at the movie from Ivo, Dr. Shabbat burying, and we found the same paths. So now we opened the cemetery, we cut them, the bushes, and it's really very nice. We have our plan. Unfortunately, I do not have here. Yes, I have here, by the way. But I will send to those people who are interested. The wonderful plan how to continue this cemetery, because the mayor, the government of the city brought from the warehouse around 300 stones, graves, and they're just lying. Nobody is taking care about them. This is a disaster. So we had a project. We wanted to close the street because it's forbidden to drive in the cemetery on the borders. But the government says that they have no money and we have to start the fundraising. But the project is really very nice. Also, in the beginning of Orlando Cemetery, you have from the graves done a wonderful monument. But coming back to the cemetery which about you asked, the deepness of the basement is 8.5 meters. It's nothing at all under the building, which was built during the Soviet time, by the way, built by the Jew, because it was a special construction with a roof. Rosenberg, he was the architect, and to leave it as it is, it's graffiti, it's drug users living there. Just impossible. We have, and we are following the suggestions of the Lithuanian, who are responsible for the cemeteries in all over Europe. And all the building will be done under the supervision, and now it's done under the supervision of the Lithuanian. You can believe me, these people are very honest, they are not taking bribes, and we'll do a very nice place there. We'll commemorate the Jews who were buried there, and nothing left from them. Even Gaon, who is now in our another cemetery, I'm not sure that it is Gaon, because they took it with, in the Soviet time, they took it with, do not know how do you call it, with the grants, and you should not believe the information which you're getting from David Katz, perhaps, and his friends. And I don't know why that's going on. We want our city to be nice, and we want to commemorate the remembering of the Jews, and this was the best way. We could not find anything else to remove the building, but it is the basement 8.5 meters. So what does it give? It's a question which was discussed for many years, and unfortunately, I personally disagree with Mr. Katz, and I do not want to talk too much about him, because in our Jewish religion, the religion tells that you can't say any bad word about another Jew, because if it is truth, and even if it is non-truth, you will be punished very much. So I will not talk about David Katz like about the body.
This is quite a personal question, but I think very interesting. I see a great sadness in you. I see in you, even when you talk, a great sadness. Do you have some joy of all the things you're doing to preserve and to teach and to help? Or does it have two-way, the sadness and the happiness?
I'm not sad, I'm tired. I'm a lawyer and I enjoy my job very much. But I'm enjoying everything what I'm doing for the Jewish community even more. And I'm very irritated and I'm very sad really that the people do not know the truth, or they are hiding from the truth. Yeah, that can't be anymore. So maybe your impression is not exactly.
It's nice to hear what you say now. Now we understand.
Yes, please.
Can you talk more about maybe the shovel ghetto? Because it links to the Morenka, I don't know how to pronounce his name. And what research is being done? Because there was an exhibition here a while ago, and even the Lithuanian telephone directory was here from 1940. So we could all see our families' names on it. It all gives the name of the person, their street address. So it is documented that Jews lived in the town and where they lived. So maybe you can talk a little bit about what's happening, and thank you.
I can tell you a lot about Shoreline because my mother was there. So I wrote a novel, and it was terrible, really. When the Germans came, everybody, all the children were running to congratulate them. They got sweets, they were so happy, and the people really did not understand. The Russians came and exiled in Siberia on the 14th of June, and on the 22nd of June, the Germans came. Who could understand what's going on? Those who were more clever or communist ran away to Russia. But generally nobody in all the world helped us. Nobody. And if you're asking why I'm very sad, I'm sad that today we are talking about Germans who did not about Germans but about our aliens who were so astonished when they saw Stenson. They didn't know before. They just didn't know. And that makes me really, I'm in doubt. I do not know whom to believe. There were two ghettos, the list which you are mentioning. This is the list of census. Not everything is correct there. Kaunas ghetto, for example, having such a list, only Vilnius and Šiauliai ghetto. After that, they liquidated one ghetto, and it was only one left. And the most interesting, first of all, two events. Kinder action, children action. My mother was 10 years old, and her mother took her to the works at that time, just as an occasion. When they came back, no children in the ghetto. All of them were taken away. Nobody knows until today what happened, where these children are, and so on, so on, so on. Secondly, it was in 1944, then the Russians were already in Vilnius, and Šiauliais railway station was bombed, was ruined. The local authorities pushed the people to go by their leg to another railway station, and I repeat once more, it was finish of the war. So they put them into the trains, they delivered them to Gdańsk. You know what is Gdańsk? It's not far away from the Baltic Sea, and the biggest river of Poland, Wisła, is going through Gdańsk. It was winter, the people had what to wear, and they had to go by their leg to Stutthof. And Stutthof, if you have been there, it wasn't such a Stutthof as you saw. The same as Dachau wasn't such a Dachau as you saw. It wasn't houses from bricks. It wasn't a cemetery. Jews were living in a wooden, very thin buildings. The same is in Dachau. So it was very hard period. A lot of people were killed. They had they burned the people. In the end of the war, they just closed the doors and left. Together with the ladies from Lithuania, there were ladies from Hungary who never was in a concentration camp, and they were quite fit, and they were changed into the buses not long ago. So, and our people, our women were very, very sick. Then Russian kings came and told them, women, go away, what are you sitting there? It was 2 weeks without meat, without food, without water. They could not go away. And my mother's sister passed away the same day. Then the Russians came, therefore I have her name. So, because it was one boy more in the family, they decided to come back to Lithuania. Surely they did not find this boy anymore. He was killed. And from the train, the Russian army threw them away because they asked to give them gold. And you know that in concentration camp nobody has gold. Then they saw that they had lice. That was also irritating. And this was a very sad life of my mother. My father at that time was 92 years in the pit. His mother was killed, and they were lying in the pit for 2 years. And my grandfather tried to educate the children because they could not go to the school. In any case, that affected me, that affected my family, and my daughter is finishing her doctorate degree about the traumatic effect on the second generation after the war. That's it. And you ask me why I'm sad.
Thank you.
Please, what about the future? Do you think a lesson has been learned in Europe?
But you see that not.
Sorry?
You see that it is not the end of.
Still the same.
It's just all this is not end. It's not finished, and I think, you know, if Lithuanians would start to make the same anti-Semitic program as it was before, I think a lot of Lithuanians would join them, because the people are losing sometimes their mind. They believe. For example, when somebody says to me that the Jews are ruling the world, I say always yes. Always. But they understand it in a different way. So. Okay, so thank you very much.
So if you want to speak to, you have a few minutes if people want to come to you and say hello. The official program is over, and I thank you all for coming. You have a few minutes?
I have to give an interview.